Feeling good, yeah. Why not, you know?
Hey, what's up guys? My name is Jonathan Flores and I am CEO/founder of Vibe & Co. LLC. Alright, you might be asking yourself what's going on, what is the title of this video, and we're here to explain everything guys. We have been sprinkling clues left and right in our podcast, on J&J Vlogs, everywhere guys, and we are finally here to spill all the tea.
With something that's coming, okay? I really shouldn't say much about it, but we're done with that. We have nomás los recuerdos quedan de las shipping bags.
No, but we have something crazy planned, guys, for this brand. This brand isn't just about selling something, getting money, and doing it all over again. We have something, like, I came up with the idea, but Blanca's like on board with it. It's so crazy that you're gonna like be shocked.
Stay tuned for the shocking news.
Guys, okay, babe, we're not going to touch a lot of topics, or I'll touch a lot about this subject because you know how I feel about jinxing and stuff like that. We're going to make this quick, guys. Vibe & Co. Something special is happening at the end of this month with Vibe & Co. And it's the sole reason, not only why we opened Vibe & Co., but why I truly think, at least for me, is why God put me on this planet and why I've always had interest in the topics that I do. So just stay tuned for that, guys. Vibe & has never been a gimmick, a business to just collect money from you guys. Vibe & Co. has a purpose, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear and see what it's about. You're gonna be shook, and you'll very soon see, like, all this money that we've made, guys, we have not touched for like, oh, we made the X amount of money, let's go buy this, let's go. No, it's all gone back to order more shirts and now to invest in it like heavily for the thing we're about to do. And it's crazy, guys. I can't wait. Like, this has been in the works since officially, like, that I took initiative for this since January. So I'm glad that at the end of June, beginning of July, you'll finally see why we started Vibe & Co.
Yeah, what its purpose in this world is.
But before we continue, guys, let me get serious real quick. As many of you guys know, I have received therapy myself for months and months in time, and I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't received therapy. I was in a very dark spot in my life. As many of you guys know, I moved to Texas for 2 months and I worked out there in the oil fields. Blanca and I had broken up, we were going through certain things, and I just needed to exclude myself. I thought I was gonna be better off excluding myself from my whole family, leaving behind my parents, my little brothers, and at that time, my ex-girlfriend. Drowning myself in long hours out in the oil rigs, surrounded by drugs, alcohol, and just bad behaviors. I knew where I belonged. I knew I wanted to be back with my ex-girlfriend, but I knew I needed to change first within myself. Fast forward a few weeks, guys, I reached back to my mom and I asked for help. As vulnerable and as weak as I felt, I knew I needed professional help, but I knew I didn't want to receive it from her. I thought that by getting therapy from my own mom, there might have been some sort of bias, but luckily she had a whole wide connection, and as any good mom, she had all the resources to get me on the right path. My mom then soon connected me to a therapist and I started going once a week. Guys, that worked wonders. I started seeing changes not only physically, but mentally. Things that used to anger me and annoy me in all sorts of aspects with my spouse, with my brothers. Now they didn't mean anything. I've always been such a big overthinker. And through certain techniques, she taught me how to control my emotions. Honestly, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, and I wouldn't be sitting in this exact spot if I hadn't taken therapy. To be honest with you guys, and I've said this before, being a toxic Hispanic male, especially a young male, I always thought therapy was a load of crap. I thought therapy was just for weak-minded individuals, or if I thought that if you seek therapy, you weren't strong enough to just deal with it on your own. Usually from a very little age, us Hispanic men are taught to kind of suppress these feelings. Luckily, I never had a dad that thought that way, but I knew I was surrounded by other individuals that kind of looked at me weird whenever I wanted to talk about emotions. So as someone going through hardships and endeavors in life, you kind of just bottle things up. And needless to say, my expectation was not that at all. Walking into that office that day, guys, I felt heard, I felt secure, I felt something that I've never felt before, and I just genuinely don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I beat myself up late at night, guys, thinking about just how many problems, how many situations I could have avoided if I had just gone to therapy sooner. If I hadn't thought that way that I thought before going to therapy, I think that my relationships for sure would have been healthier. At times, we have a certain sense of pride that doesn't allow us to reach out for help, guys. Whether you're a male, a female, all of us think that therapy or reaching out for therapy is a sense of weakness. And if you're watching this video right now and you think like I used to, I really hope you open yourself up and you allow yourself to think of therapy as something different.
My name is Marilyn. I'm 19. I'm currently working full-time and planning on going back to college in August. Yeah, to do business, so that should be exciting.
How long have you been in therapy?
I have been in therapy for around 4 to 5 years. The word I would use for like therapy, like when I first started, would be kind of like liberating because it felt like I had like a voice and like I was heard through like my therapist that I've been through, and it was just nice to like feel understood. I think it's just hard to like, I didn't communicate very well like with my parents growing up, and I struggled like so much with like my anxiety and depression that I didn't know. So basically like having someone that I knew and trusted was just like, it felt like freedom. So I was diagnosed with severe social anxiety. So I think just the always like being on edge and like feeling like I'm gonna get judged for like the way I speak or the way I look or like just like anything like that is very stressful. And then it just gets all in your head and you kind of just like fall into that depression where it's just very like hard to get out of sometimes. I thought it was just like people telling me that like my brain wasn't gonna function. My brain isn't functioning the same way as it should be with other teenagers. And it just was very like worrisome, especially like for my like family to like have to force me to go into therapy. So I think, I don't know, it was just very scary at first. And then like kind of like calming and relieving at like, well, where I am right now compared to like my first time in therapy. After I went through my first session, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not want to go again because it just felt very, like you just feel very like, what's the word? You feel very like exposed to like all the issues that are in your head. And then it's just like having to say them out loud is very like stressful because you're like, oh my God, like, why am I saying this to people? Like it's just supposed to be in my mind. So basically like, I think it took me like maybe 4 sessions until I was like 100% comfortable being okay, like talking about like all the issues that were going inside my head. I'd say one of the best things that therapy has done for me is definitely giving me more confidence being out in the world and making me feel a little more secure knowing that like not everything is out to get me and not being constantly like on edge and like on fight or flight. Just kind of like being able to relax a little like around like myself, my family, my friends, and just being able to like talk about like my feelings with everyone and not just being so closed off. Having a dog has definitely helped me with my anxiety and like depression because it's just like you have another life you have to take care of, not just your own. So basically it's like if I can't get out of bed that day, it like kind of like forces me out because like I want him to like have like a good life and like be happy. So like it just makes me want to be happy with him. And then like when I'm going through my anxieties, like when I'm out in public, it's just very soothing to have him there with me because like he's just like my best friend and he's like he's my everything basically. So just like being with him at all times is like 1000% so helpful. Hi, Yajo. Hi. Good job. This is Thor.
What does he make you feel? Right now, what are you feeling by seeing
So much joy. I just think I just love being with him at all times. If I could take him everywhere I could, like I would take him. I want to get him certified as an emotional like support dog That's what I've been talking to with my therapist recently. So I can just take him with me and like get him trained for that. For any like, I guess basically like teenager who feels like they're suffering and like wanting to seek therapy, it's the cheesiest thing to say, but you're 100% not alone. Like everybody is like kind of just struggling and like going through so much that it's just like, just that like you know that you're not alone, and like just like talking to someone is gonna help you so much, and talking to someone you trust is 1,000% gonna help you so much, and just like feeling more confident in yourself and not feeling like you have the resources in your toolbox basically to like help you out with like just like the stuff you're going through. It could be like depression or anxiety, but you're definitely like not alone, and you should be able to like use the tools that you have. And that's what a therapist is.
Hello, I am Crystal Rojas Carbajal. I am 18. I am currently working until I start school again at DU. One word I would use to describe my time in therapy is blessed.
Why blessed? What do you feel blessed?
I feel blessed with my time at therapy because I feel like it truly saved my life, and without it, I would not have experienced these past 5 years. Before I tried therapy, I thought that it was a sit down with a professional that just asked about your problems and then just told you how to fix it without any really deep conversations. But after I started therapy, I realized that it was much deeper than that. They truly want to get to the root of any issues that you're experiencing, emotional issues, physical issues, and truly it's to help you in every way be the best version of yourself for yourself. The first time I saw a therapist was when I was 13, and I had just been diagnosed with clinical depression, and I was put on antidepressants, and that truly was the beginning of my journey to self-heal. My expectation of therapy was for it to be more cold and distant, just kind of sitting there, explaining my problems, and just waiting for someone to tell me how to fix it. But that was not the reality at all. Once I got in there, I got to experience a deeper understanding of my own problems and like where they originated from. And it wasn't just I go in there once and all my problems are solved. It was a continuous and long process that was entirely worth it. After having my first therapy session, I felt tired because it is difficult to bring up all of your past trauma and explain the physical and emotional problems that happen to us in our day-to-day lives. But despite that, I felt so energetic at the same time, and I truly felt so much happier, and I felt like I could communicate with my family 1,000 times better even with the first session. I feel incredible now that I have been in therapy, and I have seen so many changes within myself, and I can even now start to see and understand others in a deeper way that I didn't think I could. And actually, I recently graduated, and I was the valedictorian of my class, and I just compare that to how I was about 5 years ago and how I didn't even want to be here, and just how much has happened within those 5 years that I would have missed if I wouldn't have gone to therapy. My best piece of advice for someone seeking therapy is to do it. And once you're doing it, look for someone, a professional, that truly understands you and who you feel comfortable talking to. What was really broken was my relationship with my parents. And as much as it hurts me to say, I hated my parents before I started therapy. And I didn't even want to look at them. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to have a relationship with them. But it wasn't until my therapist told me that we work as a team and we need a community with us to help guide us, that I realized that I needed them as much as they needed me. And that really pushed me to open myself up more to them. And ultimately, they were the reason that I have been successful in my life. They helped me in so many ways, and without them, I don't think I would have even gotten through high school. So I'm very grateful for my therapist who allowed me to see that I needed my parents, and I'm also grateful for my parents. One thing I'm really proud of is that I was the valedictorian. My parents were extremely happy to know that I was the valedictorian. My mom heavily prioritized my mental health, and she knew that if it wasn't for the help that I received from others, that I would not have even been walking across that stage. And let alone did she expect for me to be up there giving a speech. But I just always felt like my mom knew that there was something big that I could do, and she was the reason that I even began therapy. And I would say that that moment for her was extremely rewarding, because she got to see that despite everything that had happened, the help that we had sought truly changed our lives.
Hi guys, I am Blanca J and I am co-owner of Vibe & Co. Okay, Vibe & Co has been our baby ever since we came up with it, and it's funny because, like Jonathan explained previously, he always knew he had a purpose in life, and I just knew when I met him that I was going to help him achieve this purpose. First and foremost, because when I met him, I didn't feel like I had a purpose. I was very codependent, and whatever Jonathan did, I was right there next to him, which was good and bad. Because one, I didn't have my own identity, and two, I was so dependent on him for everything to solve my life issues, my problems, everything. But I knew that I wanted him to achieve his goals, and I was going to be right there next to him. So when we met, Jonathan told me that he wanted to help people, and I remember the very first idea he ever told me was when we were going to youth group at our church. He said, I want to sell shirts to people, and then with that money fund people's like fitness journey, because in the Hispanic community I feel like a lot of people don't go to the gym, don't really focus on their fitness as much. So he said he wanted to fund someone's fitness journey. That never ended up happening, but that idea came with us from when we were 16 all the way until now. That is what Vibe & Co is. It is how we express ourselves with our oversized shirts that can be used to go wear out and about, or can be used at the gym and wherever you're going, basically. So that is where the other side comes in, which is helping people. So with our private foundation, Vibe & Cares, we are going to fund therapy for those of you who are seeking it. The first time I saw a therapist was in 2021, at the beginning of 2021, and some of you might be familiar with this story, but I grew up thinking that I didn't want kids, that I didn't want to be a mom, and that I just maybe would think about being a mom when I was 30. That's what I used to say. So one time, Jonathan and I were actually having a deep conversation about, do we want kids? Do we not want kids? And I looked at him seriously and I said, I don't think I want kids, but we can revisit the idea when I'm 30. That is when we kind of hit a challenging place in our relationship, because Jonathan told me, just being raw and real, that if I didn't want kids, that was a deal breaker for him. Why? Because he wants to be a dad. He wanted nothing but to be a dad. That was his life goal. And he kept telling me, he's like, if you can assure me that by 30 you do want to have kids, that's perfectly fine. I can wait for you. But if you think that when you hit 30 you're still gonna think about maybe having kids, then that is a deal breaker for me. Because what if at 30 you don't want kids, and I just, spend my whole life wanting them, and now I'm 30 and, it's just a hard place to be put in. And that's when I remember I sat down and I said, well, why don't I want kids? And the first thing I did was think about reaching out to a therapist. And I even told him, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to a therapist. I need to talk through my traumas. I need to know why I don't want kids, or why I think that I don't want kids. This was still during COVID times, so it was all online. I remember I got a recommendation from a very good friend of mine, and I went online and talked to a therapist. And that's where I revealed my trauma of being the oldest sister. And my best piece of advice for somebody seeking therapy is to do it, to stop letting the media, stop letting your aunt, your uncle, your mom tell you that your mental health isn't an issue, that being depressed doesn't exist, and truly be confident about seeking a therapist, because in that way you're not telling your best friend that's biased, your mom that's biased, your problems. You're talking to somebody that can actually help you work through your problems. And that's why I feel like it's such an important thing, because without therapy, I wouldn't be a mom right now. And maybe Jonathan and I would have gotten a divorce. And as silly as that sounds, it was our reality.
Hi everyone, I'm Roman Garcia. I'm 21 years old and I'm currently a barista, hoping to return back to school in this fall. And I am Vibe & Co.'s first male model.
Have you ever been in therapy before?
No, I've never been to therapy before.
What do you think therapy is?
I think therapy is a personal healing journey that people choose to embark on in their life. Personally, I feel like everybody experiences trauma in their lives. Everybody grows up differently and has a different upbringing. And I feel like for me particularly, I think I could really use therapy when it comes to listening to my voice, to listening to my intuition, and listening to what my desires are. Personally, I have read a lot of self-help books, and I realized that after reading and learning all this, that I can't do it all alone, and that this is a journey that has to be done in community with people. I personally realized that, actually literally last week, I reached out to a counselor that I met at a coffee shop that I worked at, asking if she knew a resource that she could connect me to, because I'm starting to realize that I can't do this alone. I need someone to tell me that what I'm doing is the right thing, because I'm personally not strong enough to tell myself that I am doing the right thing. And I always tend to doubt myself. So I know for a fact that I need help, or I need therapy.
Do you think that therapy is expensive or affordable to people?
I think that for the lower class, for people that are constantly always hustling and working, it's not affordable, because your mind is always so caught up in, oh my God, I need to do this, this, and this. You're not really thinking about what you personally or mentally, emotionally need, or even physically, because I feel like physical, mental, and emotional fitness, or all of those things, they go together. And if you're not taking care of one of them, you're gonna fail altogether in all of them.
Do you think if therapy was a little bit more affordable, like more people will get it?
I think so, yes. I think that a lot of people pull back from seeking the help that they need, because again, they're caught up in their worlds, and they're caught up in, oh my God, I don't have enough money for this. Why am I gonna go seek that right now? And their priorities just are in different places. I do think that there is a stigma that exists within the Latino community when it comes to seeking help for your mental health, especially with men. I know a lot of men grow up having this idea that, one, they can do it all by themselves, two, that they need not just men, but women too, that they need to shove all of their emotions deep inside and store them away and push through to keep going and reach their goals. But I think that really affects people in the long run. You're gonna eventually see that everything that you stored up isn't serving you and isn't helping you further in life.
What would your expectations be if you take therapy? Like, what are the expectations?
One of the expectations that I would seek in therapy is, I guess, someone to guide me, someone to validate my feelings and tell me that the feelings that I'm feeling are okay and that they're normal and that we can move on from what I'm going through. I think that I just need someone to listen, someone to tell me that everything's gonna be okay, even when the world or my reality doesn't say so.
So real quick, Roman, what did Blanca tell you were being interviewed for today? Or what was the whole reason of you coming today?
She told me that you all were gonna be launching your Vibe & Co. new campaign on seeking therapy and seeking help.
Awesome. So with everything we've heard today and with your story and just everything we know of how great of a kid you are, I don't think there is a better candidate than our first male model to announce that our very first Vibing Care private foundation person who received free therapy through the funds that Vibing Co receives will be you. So we just wanted to let you know that from now on, how many sessions of free therapy you need with my mom or whatever therapist suits you the best will be paid for, and you won't have to worry for that, because that's the last thing someone in college working needs to worry about. So.
You guys are amazing. I feel like the universe works in mysterious ways. I'm not even lying to you, because literally last week I was looking, I'm not lying. Like, oh my God. Thank you.
What are your thoughts now? How do you feel?
Right now, I honestly don't know how to feel. I haven't, I said that the universe works in mysterious ways, and I said that because the moment you ask the universe, the moment you ask God to, ask Him for the help that you need, it lands on your lap. That's literally what happened. I just don't know what to think right now. I don't know what to feel. I just feel very blessed, I guess you can say that.
Hola, mi nombre es Lisa Jiménez y tengo estudios superiores en psicología. Me especializo en trabajar con personas que han sufrido el monstruo de ansiedad y depresión y dar apoyo detallado y a profundidad a esos matrimonios que necesitan sanar su relación, pero sobre todo sanarla desde una perspectiva personal, esa sanación interior que se necesita para poder tener relaciones sanas, eficaces y saludables. Casada por 27 años, he tenido la dicha, la bendición de ser madre de 5 hijos. Una jornada que definitivamente me ha hecho entender verdaderamente las emociones humanas y el comportamiento y el desarrollo tanto físico, psicológico e incluso espiritual que cada ser humano tenemos que pasar para lograr ser la mejor versión de nosotros mismos. La mejor descripción que pudiéramos dar de terapia debiera ser ese lugar seguro de encuentro donde 2 seres humanos, desde un punto de respeto y de un profundo amor propio, se encuentran para platicar de una historia de dolor, de esa historia que va truncando las emociones, que va truncando prácticamente la vida de aquel ser humano. ¿Qué es terapia? Es ese lugar de encuentro donde se encuentra una profunda sanación, donde se desnuda el alma y se encuentra de verdad la sanación. La razón por la que escogí ser terapeuta fue mi propia historia. ¿Quién puede ayudar si no ha sido aquel que ha pasado por aquel dolor? ¿Quién puede guiar si no es solamente aquel que ya ha pasado por aquella jornada? Mi propio trauma, mi propio dolor me llevaron a buscar respuestas, a buscar caminos, a tocar puertas. Y en la psicología encontré esa sanación, esa ayuda que tanto necesitaba. Y una vez encontrada, ¿cómo podía quedarme sin brindarla a alguien más? Fue entonces que decidí que estudiar psicología iba a ser mi misión de vida. Ir a terapia ha sido verdaderamente culturalmente y generacionalmente pasada por mucha negligencia. Lamentablemente en nuestra cultura, atender a terapia es un sinónimo de debilidad, es un sinónimo de estar siendo vulnerable y es algo que en nuestra cultura no es apreciado. También ir a terapia significa sacar los más profundos monstruos, no solamente personales, sino familiares. Y desde cierto punto, eso nos hace creer que estamos traicionando a nuestro clan, que estamos faltándole al respeto a aquellas personas que nos criaron, que nos atendieron. Definitivamente, ir a terapia en nuestra cultura ha pasado por mucha negligencia que si queremos ser una generación verdaderamente sana, verdaderamente proactiva, esa negligencia tiene que parar. Ir a terapia, yo misma, cambió mi vida. ¿Cómo? de una manera profunda y trascendental. Requirió mucho trabajo. Requirió literalmente subirme mis mangas y darme un clavado a esos momentos de dolor, a esos momentos del pasado que mi consciente había mandado al subconsciente y que no quería registrar. Ir a terapia implicó mucho trabajo personal, pero definitivamente es una de las mejores decisiones que he hecho en mi vida. Ir a terapia sana, ir a terapia reconforta. Ir a terapia verdaderamente transforma tu vida y te abre los ojos a una perspectiva diferente, a una perspectiva que los monstruos de ansiedad, de depresión, bipolaridad, esquizofrenia tratan de cerrarte tus ojos, a una realidad que tú, en medio de ese dolor, crees que no existe, crees que realmente no hay esperanza. Pero ir a terapia me probó a mí y te puede probar a ti que sí hay esperanza. ¿Qué le diría yo a esa persona que está dudando, que sabe que necesita ayuda, esa ayuda externa, pero que está dudando en buscarla? ¿Qué te diría a ti que me estás mirando y que tal vez te comes las uñas, que te jalas el pelo, que pierdes tus pestañas, que pasas las noches sin dormir o estás utilizando mecanismos de defensa que te lastiman tus emociones? ¿Qué te diría a ti, corazón? Te diría, sé valiente, porque ¿sabes qué? La terapia no es para mediocres, no es para losers o perdedores. La terapia es cosa de valientes y de gente humilde que dice y decide sanar y vivir una vida libre de traumas. Ir a terapia es una de las mejores inversiones que puedes hacer en tu vida. Los trastornos emocionales son reales. Los sientes, los sufres. Ahora es tiempo que los atiendas. Ver de primera mano los estragos que la ansiedad, la depresión y el miedo al fracaso hicieron en mi propio hijo Jonathan fue devastante. Mirar a un joven lleno de talento, con toda una vida por delante, y sin embargo siendo consumido por esos monstruos ficticios y mucho trauma real. Verlo sufrir fue realmente a nivel personal un gran dolor. Sin embargo, vino acompañado de una satisfacción grande al ver cómo la terapia fue creando en él poco a poco los fundamentos, los bloques necesarios para ayudarlo a salir a la superficie. Ir a terapia, mi hijo, definitivamente fue una de las cosas más trascendentales, una de las decisiones más inteligentes y valientes que él tuvo que realizar en su vida. Como madre, como terapeuta, no pudiera estar más feliz.
¿Qué diferencia miró usted en el comportamiento y en el desarrollo de su hijo? ¿Qué algo que lo haya marcado? Algo que diga, ahí es donde empezó a notar la diferencia.
Los cambios en la vida de Jonathan, una vez que él atendió a terapia, fueron muy marcados y trascendentales. Su capacidad de resiliencia, su capacidad de ver la vida con esperanza y sobre todo de estar en un mejor control de sus emociones y hacerse responsable de sus actitudes, fue definitivamente un parteaguas, un antes y un después de Jonathan atender a terapia. My first language is Spanish. However, I can speak English. I can connect with you. Because at the end of the day, what speaks louder is the heart, the intention, the willingness to listen and to speak. I'm here to help you.
All right, guys, let's get into the technical side of things.
You may be wondering and asking yourself what your role is in this.
So we're here to explain everything detail by detail.
We all know that therapy can be very expensive for most people. For me, therapy was $150 per session. That session got me 1 hour. So if I wanted to do it every day, imagine how that could add up.
I took therapy about 4 years ago, guys, correct? And my therapy session was roughly $70 for 45 minutes. Nowadays, with inflation and everything else, depending on the area where you live, therapy for 1 hour can cost you anywhere from $150 to $175. So this is where Vibe & Co. comes into play.
Vibe & Co. for us was never just a business idea. It was never just for the money. We knew we wanted to do something very impactful with it. And that is where our private foundation, Vibe & Cares, comes into play.
The way Vibe & Co., our brand, and Vibe & Cares, our private foundation, work together is this. 20% of the amount of money that Vibe & Co. makes a month will go towards funding Vibe & Cares private foundation. So that means for as much money as 20% is, will go towards providing free therapy for individuals in need.
Now speaking for those who are seeking therapy. I know it can be very hard, it can be stressful, you don't know where to start. So all you'll have to do is go on Vibe & Co.'s website and there will be a separate tab called Vibe & Cares. That tab will lead you to a form that you submit with your information, letting us know why you need therapy and just letting you open up to someone that cares, which is us.
You will be providing your name, phone number, email, that way we can reach out to you.
With that form, we will also know what kind of therapy you're looking for.
You guys have already met our first therapist, which is indeed my mom. As Vibe & Cares Foundation grows and grows, we will then introduce more therapists to the organization. And don't worry, you don't have to live in Colorado. You don't have to live specifically in our town. Zoom calls will also be an option. That way my mom can communicate to anyone in the whole United States. So no matter where you live, whether you live in California, Texas, Florida, North Dakota, you will be heard.
So we just want to emphasize that all of this will be free. It will be funded by Vibe & Cares. So as soon as you submit that information and we get to know your reasonings behind seeking therapy, we will be funding everything for you. You do not have to worry about it, and that's why we started this, because we don't want anybody to worry about how they're going to pay for the help that they need. For our Vibe & Co. family, we want you guys to know that every purchase has a purpose, and that is to help all of those around us that want it and need it.
Every month, we will update you guys. People that have received therapy, whether they want to remain anonymous, that's fine, but those that are willing to share their story will be shared all throughout our social media, our TikTok, our Instagram, and our website, so that people that might still be a little bit nervous or doubtful can get the encouragement that they need. So once again, thank you so much for all the endless support you guys have showed us throughout these last few months.
We do want to emphasize that you are helping so many people by supporting our business. We never wanted our business to just be a business. We wanted to make a huge impact in this world.
And what better way to make an impact than by including you guys? You guys have been with us through it all, and those that have been with us since day one know how important therapy means to us. From the minute we started Spill the Beans, I believe our first episode, if I remember correctly, is speaking about mental health in the Hispanic community. Now, we fast forward all these years later, we have brought something into fruition, something that can physically help you guys.
With all that being said, we do want to announce that we are having a full restock on all of our designs and a launch on our new designs that revolve around mental health. Also, if you want to be a part of this without necessarily having to purchase a shirt, donations will be available through our Vibe & Cares tab.
Whether you decide to pick up anything or not, we appreciate all the support you guys have shown us throughout the years. We love you, we care for you, and this is a beginning to a new journey.